Hello and welcome to At Your Service. My name is David Hawksworth, and today I'm joined by Michelle Martin, who's the Community Relations Supervisor for the Community Relations Department. So, Michelle, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
We're here to talk about an event that comes up every April, and it's called the Fair Housing Seminar. And it's chock full of information about a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to let Michelle talk a little bit about that.
Well, thank you, David. It's a great day. I think it's a great event. We're very excited to bring it to Salina. But April is Fair Housing Month, if people didn't know that. So that is why we do the event in April. We've kind of figured out Fridays are an optimum day to do it, and we're kind of going with the last Friday of the month unless something like COVID happens.
Right.
But that's typically when we're going to hold it, is the last Friday in April. So this year it's the last Friday in April, April 28th. It's at TPEC, what used to be Bicentennial Center, for those of us who've been around a while.
Now it's Tony's Pizza Event Center.
Yes, that's what it is now, a great venue. We're very excited to have it there. They've been doing this way before I started, so I can't tell you exactly how many years. I know at least 10, but I think it's way more than that. I mean, this is the 55th year of the Fair Housing Act passing.
Okay.
So this is I don't know what you call it. It's 55 years is a while,
right.
And I don't know what the name is for it, but it's been 55 years. So we're excited to bring it again and looking forward to a great day. We have some really great speakers coming from various areas. We'll be covering 3 different certifications. So if you need real estate hours, we don't have we have some approvals, but not final numbers of how many credits yet. But we've got, we're estimating, I think, 6 hours for realtors, real estate licensing. 5.5 maybe for social workers, and 7 for attorneys. We think those are estimates, but there'll be something in there. We just don't know the final numbers just yet.
So I think we should mention, even though it's you'll have continuous education credits for professionals, it's open to the public as well.
It is. It's open to anyone. It's $30 is the registration fee, and that includes your lunch. Social workers have a little bit extra crediting cost, but other than that, it's $30 for anyone wanting to attend. And I would say if someone is having issues paying that $30, give us a call. We'll see what we can do. I won't make promises, but we've had very generous sponsors this year and great sponsorships. So we might be able to do something if someone really could attend. Now, it's an all-day event. It starts registration's at 8. The event actually starts at 8:30, and we're hoped to be done and out of there by 4:30. But it's a good full day.
Okay. Yeah, there's just looking at the sheet here, there's a lot of different workshops going on about all sorts of topics related to fair housing.
Correct. And hopefully it's informative. It runs the gamut. You know, there are things about reasonable accommodations and people with disabilities, like how you fill out a reasonable accommodation request, how the landlords are supposed to handle that, and what are people's rights on that. That's one topic. Emotional support animals, which are very different than service animals and pets, and kind of what those differences are. I think that speaker should go through those differences, that a pet is not a service animal is not an emotional support animal. They mean very specific things under each of these acts.
Okay.
And the ADA has differences from the Fair Housing Act. So a lot of people get a lot of this confused. And so I think it'll be a really informative topic on that. It's a very hot topic. We get lots of calls on that one.
Yeah, a lot of, it's an easy way to get that all sorted out so that you know the difference between emotional support animals and service animals and just regular pets.
Yes, yes. And where you are, what rule applies, because ADA and fair housing are different rules.
So you may have an accommodation for a service animal, but maybe not an emotional support animal.
Yeah. So in your house, when you're at home, there are different rules than when you're in public settings.
Okay.
And there are different acts that actually apply.
Okay.
So
come to the Fair Housing Seminar, attend the workshop, and you'll get all the details on how that all works together.
I
so.
hope so. It's still confusing to those of us who practice law. It's still confusing,
Right,
but
right.
so I expect people to have some confusion, and we'll try and clarify.
Okay.
There's also some stuff on sexual harassment and Violence Against Women Act, VAWA is what we call it. There's going to be a topic on that and eviction process and their rights, and if they're a subject of a violence against, fall under a Violence Against Women Act protection or sexual harassment or something like that. There's some different rules that have come out on that, so there's a session on that. And just your basic Fair Housing 101 is what we call it. There is a session on Fair Housing 101.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, I know with the, when you're talking about eviction, there are maybe some alternatives to eviction that you can discuss.
Well, we're going to talk about evictions, but because evictions come in the door for us all the time, we have lots of questions on them. But evictions and fair housing aren't the same. Fair housing usually is talking about discrimination.
Okay.
And so evictions can be for things like non-payment of rent and other violations, and they can intersect with and be a sign of discrimination. But evictions are controlled by the Landlord-Tenant Act, the Kansas Residential Landlord-Tenant Act. And so there are some different rules. There's enough gray area. We get a lot of questions on it. But we in our office cannot represent people on the Landlord-Tenant Act or evictions. We can only represent them on discrimination. But there's a lot of overlap and a lot of questions. Again, why we are having that be a part of the seminar and education purposes.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, this is just one small thing of what the Community Relations Division does.
Yes.
And Community Relations Division is part of Community and Development Services. But what kind of other services do you provide the community?
Well, that's a good question. What we do, our primary thing is investigative. We're in a kind of an investigative office.
Okay.
So if someone is concerned that they have a discrimination complaint at their employer, in a public accommodation, a public entity, or in their housing, we will investigate those if it's in our jurisdiction. By that I mean we are only limited to the city of Salina. We can't even go in the county because the reason we exist and have the ability to do what we do is in the city jurisdiction under Chapter 13 of the Salina City Code. So,
Right.
so I am limited. Now, if it's something that's happening in the county or somewhere else that, I can refer to some other places, but we in our office, are only limited to that. And we can't represent people in court for the eviction or landlord-tenant issues. Again, we make a lot of referrals
Okay.
to other places and try and help people kind of narrow down where they might have some options. They're not always, I would love to help everyone, but I can't. I mean,
right.
there are just a lot of things we can't do. The other thing we cover are ADA. So ADA is different. I mean, it has overlap with the fair housing and discrimination, but ADA, we are the ADA compliance for the city. So if there's someone in ADA covers, there's like 5 chapters, but what our section is what we call Title II. So when someone has a concern about the city's open accommodations or the city stuff, we kind of help through that process and see if we can't find some resolution. If people need services, need a special accommodation when they're dealing with city property or city things, they can come to our office and we'll do everything we can to help them.
Okay.
I can't always promise to get everything you want, but we will do everything we can.
So if you're concerned about that you might have been discriminated against in housing or public accommodations or things like that, you're the person to come see.
It's a good starting point, and hopefully we'll be able to guide you.
Right.
We can't always take everything because it may not fall in our jurisdiction, but we will at least be able to guide you to the right place. And we will look at it. We investigate with a neutral party. We don't take either side, just so people understand. We don't take either side. We just try and find, is this possible that it was, and get information from both sides of this. We don't, just because someone says, I don't just automatically believe them. We try and find out, investigate both sides of it.
Right.
And as much as people cooperate, and then And then we take it to the HRC, which is the Human Relations Commission, which is one of the commissions of the city. And
It's a citizen board.
right,
Yeah.
and they're appointed by the mayor and the city commission.
Right.
And then those individuals, we select 3 at a time to hear each case. Once it goes so far that and they decide whether, is it discrimination, is it not, is there probable cause for that? And then kind of helps the parties decide, should we settle? And then if they don't, then it goes to court.
Okay.
That's
All right.
kind of the process.
Okay, well, it's a very valuable service
Yeah.
that you offer the community here. So, but back to the Fair Housing Seminar.
Yes.
Let's just recap a little bit, the date and the times and fees and all that stuff.
Friday, April 28th. It's $30 a person for registration. The doors open at 8, like we start doing registration, and then the event starts at 8:30, and we anticipate it being done at 4:30.
Okay, and lots of topics. Just going to read some of these basics of fair housing. So if you need to know about
A good place to start.
right,
It's a good place to start.
Workshop on reasonable accommodations and emotional support animals.
Yep.
Kansas Residential Landlord Tenant Act.
Yep.
And the eviction process.
Yes.
Sexual Harassment and Violence Against Women Act.
Yeah. And those
So-
are the main ones. I think there's a couple that we haven't listed, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but there's about 7 sessions.
Okay.
But,
Plus like a keynote speaker.
No, we don't really have a keynote.
Okay.
We have a welcome, and we have lunch, and we have some breaks, so you can visit the vendors. We'll have about 9 or 10 vendors there. We have
Okay.
a few more sponsors, but not all sponsors want to have a booth.
Right.
So I think it's 9 or 10 vendors that we'll have on site and time to walk and look around. But no, at this time we don't really have a keynote speaker
Okay.
per se. It's the topics. It's a
Okay.
lot of meat and potatoes of the basics.
Okay.
And there'll be some really knowledgeable people there you can ask questions of. I think all of our speakers will be gracious enough to hang around a little bit and ask questions, or at least get their contact information, and you'll be able to follow up with questions if it's something, especially when it's things that our office doesn't really do. This is a really great opportunity to ask those questions.
And it's a great opportunity to learn more about the Human Relations Commission and the other board that you
Yes.
have, the Accessibility Advisory Board.
Yes.
Those are both citizen boards, and they provide some guidance to,
Yes, and they both will have booths there.
Right.
And our office, all the staff members in our office have a role with those boards. So we'll be there. We'll have a booth set up for each of them, information on those if people want to join. The Accessibility Advisory Board is more the ADA side of things. They're there to help, make decisions on the way city is provide guidance for the city on making things more accommodating to individuals in the community. That's their role. They meet 4 times a year. Now, the Human Relations Commission meets monthly, is
Okay.
what they're scheduled to meet. So, and they're both there. There should be individuals from each board there part of the day. They're not all going to be there all day, but
Right.
we kind of have a few volunteered to come help with the booths, and the staff will be there.
okay. How do you register for the Fair Housing Seminar?
The best way is to go online, and we have on the city's website, there's a form they can fill out. We do have paper copies if someone wants to come to our office or call our office. We can email out a paper form that they can mail in and register. But the best way is if you're capable and you can get online, it's quicker, you can get online and do that.
Okay, that's at salina-ks.gov/Fair Housing Seminar.
Yes.
All right. We'll put that link right here at the bottom of the screen.
Perfect.
Anything else we should know about the Fair Housing Seminar?
Well, we just hope everyone comes and has a great day, and we are praying the event goes off. No surprises like 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so but I think we're on board for that. With everyone there. It's not required anyone wear masks or have hand sanitizer, but I've got plenty left from last year
Okay.
that we were prepared. We will have masks if someone wants a mask.
Okay.
It's not required to wear it, and we'll have lots of hand sanitizer. So if anyone has that issue, let us know, and we'll work with that. It is not going to be offered dually. It will not be offered virtually. It's only live.
Okay.
But what we can work around is having individuals that space. And if we can spread people out, it depends how many we have. If we had 60 attend last year, and with that number, we can put some space if someone's conscious about it. We can
Right.
give them some space.
Yep.
If it filled up, I can't make that promise of how much space you'll have because it is open and we'll have it open until the registration closes April 15th or whatever that Friday is.
Right, yeah.
Something,
I think
whatever
it's
that
the
Friday
14th or
is.
15th,
yes.
yeah.
And so that's when the registration closes. And if you miss that deadline, I apologize very much. I mean, you can call our office. I can't promise because of the food and the menu and TPAC and all that. But so really, we only need to have the registrations before that.
Okay.
But, you can always call. It never hurts to ask. I tell people, but it's just the accommodations and the meal closings and when we have to have all that, the 14th or whatever that Friday is.
Okay. All right. So we hope that you got some good information about what the Fair Housing Seminar is. And if you're interested in things like the basics of fair housing and the Violence Against Women Act and sexual harassment issues concerning these kinds of things, then this is what you need to attend.
Yeah, and
So-
we can do, as a staff, these are better speakers. I mean, some of these are from out of town and very knowledgeable speakers, but we can do some training. It won't be all day, but we can do some presentations. If you have a need for an organization that wants a presentation on a topic, I don't have all topics already pre-prepared. Sometimes I need a little time. We have some that we've done frequently enough that we have some presentations together that we can pull out and go and do. Otherwise, I need a little lead time to put. But if it's on these topics, I have enough information, I can put something together. So just work with us. That's part of our service and the outreach we do is doing presentations. If someone needs one besides the event, we have other people come in and present. And I just remembered the one session that wasn't on that list is mediation. We're going to have some people that are professional mediators come in and talk about that too.
Okay.
So, because that's a real helpful tool in all of these cases is mediation, conciliation, and all that. So we have a mediator coming to present on that.
We should also mention that you have 10 or 11 sponsors for the event.
We do, and we are so thankful for them. It's been a real blessing to have them, and we can't say thank you enough. And hopefully you're showing their names too so that they can all get proper credit because this wouldn't be possible without them.
Okay.
And we have great community sponsors.
Okay. So April 28th at TPEC, or Tony's Pizza Event Center, 8 in the morning.
Yep,
$30, includes lunch.
it does.
It's a good bargain.
Yes, it is. It's a good deal.
We
And-
hope to see you there at
Yeah.
the Fair Housing Seminar.
Yeah.
Michelle, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you.
And we'll see you next time on At Your Service.